Microphone, come on. Good evening. There we go. That's a little better. Welcome to the November meeting of the North Shore Radio Club. For those of you out in Zoom land, we are automatically muting all your mics. If you are a presenter, please unmute when you are you're presenting, or feel free to use the chat to ask any questions. Speaking of Zoom and people that are out there, and actually people in the room too, I need a volunteer to pass around the microphone when people ask questions. Do I have such a volunteer? Or do I have to appoint someone? I have a volunteer. Mike is going to be our remote mic. See, that worked out very well. So basically what that is when somebody wants to ask a question here, sometimes we can hear them in the room, but most of the time we can't. This way, they'll go out on Zoom and it'll come over the PA system, okay? Today's Veterans Day, as you all know. This is the day we remember and honor those who have served the country, the defense of our country. I'd like all those who serve to please stand so the rest of us can thank you for your service with a well-deserved round of applause. All the veterans in the room, I know we got more than one. Thank you for your service. Okay. This club has always done well at Field Day. I'm proud to announce that we ranked third in 3A and first in our division. How about a round of applause for Field Day leaders Don Whiteman and Marty Boroff? Okay, that's great. However, I need to remind all of us that since this was their final year as leaders, we need 2 new leaders for Field Day 2026. Planning for Field Day starts in January, so we need to have those volunteers in place by then. So give it some thought, folks. Do we have any first-time visitors today? Any first-time attending a meeting? Anyone? We do. Hi. Microphone? There you go. Is the microphone out? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Mike Perkowitz, November 9, Lima Uniform, India. And I do the Sky Warden a couple Sundays a month on the repeater here.
Welcome. Close, very close. All right. Anyone have a license upgrade? I know with the government shut down, it's been kind of hard to figure it out, but you are considered upgraded if you have received your, what is that, CE from a test. So anybody with an upgrade? No, nobody upgraded. We're all extras already. Okay, that's cool. We are doing a VE session this Sunday. I was just reminded. So yeah, and hopefully the government will start working again. All righty. Tonight, our guest presenter is Garrett Dow, KD6 KPC. He's the founder of the Repeater Book website. A lot of you are familiar with Repeater Book. This is the website version of it, and there's a lot more interactive things we can do with it. And I'm not going to try to explain it because I don't understand it myself. So I'm going to ask Garrett to please share his screen. And once he starts that, he can take the floor. Garrett, the floor is yours. What?
Okay, just make sure you can hear me okay.
Okay, hang on.
Okay.
Okay. I stopped. Garrett, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, very well.
Too loud? I can bring it back some.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, let me do that. All right, I imagine it's sharing now. Got a green box around it.
We see your slides on Zoom. We haven't got them in the viewing room here.
Oh, interesting.
Garrett, we apologize for the delay. We are seeing your screen here at a control area, but not on our projector in the viewing room here. We're working on it.
Yeah, no problem.
Garrett, we're finally there. We have you up on the screen and you're on Zoom, so take it away.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, I just reintroduced myself. My name is Garrett Dow, KD6KPC, and yeah, the six means I originally was a California resident when I got my ham license at age 17 through the Boy Scout program. About 10 of us scouts went to get the merit badge, and of the 10 scouts, I was the only one who actually got my license. But many of the leaders did, including my father. So me and my father have sequential call signs. So I keep my very difficult to remember call sign. Uh, but I got my license in 1992. And first thing my father did was took me down to Ham Radio Outlet in Burbank, where we bought an Alinco DJ F1T handheld radio and a small pocket guide ARRL repeater directory. And took that back home and started going through the directory and trying out repeaters, and noted that several repeaters that were listed in the directory were not actually operational. So then you take out a pen and line them out uh, and modify the directory. As I moved on in life and went to college, I got a Kenwood TM733A dual band radio, and it was a pretty cool radio, but it had a removable face from it to not for remote use, but more to prevent theft. It was, I think, around the same time that you could buy car stereos and remove the face from them. And but every once in a while, I would put the face back on, and it would short the radio, and it would blank out all the memories. It would reset. So I had a spreadsheet in my glove box that I would go through and put the repeaters back in. And that kind of graduated from putting it on an Excel spreadsheet into I put it on the web just for me. The original website name was called NW Ham because I live up in Portland, Oregon now. So for northwestham.com, and that was just my own personal reference for repeaters in my area, just taking advantage of the internet. When a Canadian from um, Alberta contacted me and said, "Hey, could you do that for Alberta?" And Repeater Book was born. So that was about 2006, and it just grew out. And then about 2014, I was contacted by a ham in England, who is actually the designer and maintainer of the Repeater Book app, and that springboarded into not only the app but also Repeater Book being international. One of my fellow club members here in Oregon went to Greece and used the Repeater Book app to locate repeaters that he could use while in Greece, and sent me some screenshots, which is pretty cool. I've never used the app outside the country. So, but apparently it works in Greece, among many other places. But I think the main reason why I was invited to the club was to show what Repeater Book does. And Repeater Book obviously is an online repeater directory, And I would note that we have an agreement and relationship with the Illinois Repeater Association, of course, who does Illinois' um, repeater coordination. And they've been really great to work with. And so we synchronize our data with ILRA data that hopefully, in your experience, makes the data a little bit better. We try to help each other out with they provide data and we provide data back. Um, and so with the monthly synchronization between them and us, we hopefully have a better data set. We also have admins in Illinois who collect data from the greater ham radio community and do verifications and add repeater data in. So sometimes people will say we're crowdsourced, and that's not accurate. We definitely accept community input, but we try to vet everything with our admins. So just the quick tour, if you haven't been on Repeater Book, Repeater Book is free to use. With an account, a free account, you can access repeater searches and you can export repeaters to popular programming software, including RT Systems, Chirp, Yaesu, ICOM, manufacturer programs, Anytone, and many others. If I click on North American repeaters here, and I move into a map, and I can choose Illinois. And now I used to live in Illinois, but I was in the central part of the state, so I don't know where all the counties are in Chicago. But so what I'm going to do is choose a city instead. So I'll just choose, it's Cook County. Maybe you're in Cook County there. Hopefully you're not too far north out of Cook, but let's see.
That's right.
Okay, great. So I came back with 100 repeaters found in Cook County, and they are sorted by frequency. This is just kind of a list of all the repeaters that we have there. What some people like to do maybe is come over here and map the results. So it shows pins of where those repeaters are, and you can click on the pin and it'll give you some basic information about these repeaters. If there's more than one, it'll show you in that same area, it'll show you the multiple there. And then you can click on more and it'll take you to a more detailed page regarding that repeater. So this one happens to be in Inverness. And it looks like it's a multi-mode. And you can see here we also have a propagation, what I call a splat map, that kind of gives us maybe some idea of how that repeater propagates. Being pretty flat out there, as long as it's got some elevation, which looks like the antenna's at 83 feet, that probably does pretty well for the Chicago area there. There are many different ways to search. That was by county. You can choose by city. You can choose by ones that are near highways. Maybe you want to pick one that is Aries or Skywarn. You have multiple linking systems, and so you can find the repeaters that are associated with a certain linking system. Maybe you want to look for one with wires X. Maybe you're a System Fusion user. Looks like there's 3 in Cook County you could use. If you're a DMR user, you could very easily click on DMR, sort by county, and you got several DMR repeaters there in Cook County. Or you can search by band. One of the searches, though, that we've added now is under a new feature that we have called Repeater Book Plus. And Repeater Book Plus is kind of a top tier pay to use version of the site. And the reason why is a lot of these searches require me to pay Google, for example, in order to get information in order to do this. And as an example, this is called the route search in North America. So let's say I was starting from Chicago, Illinois, and I was going to head down to Dayton in May. And I know it's Xenia, but maybe your hotel's in Dayton. And I have a 2 meter, a 70 centimeter FM DMR radio. And I want to look for repeaters that are within 30 miles of the route. And I want to exclude repeaters that are short range that are under 15 miles. Those are usually backyard repeaters. And then what it's going to do is use Google. It's interesting that it did Portland instead of
You put OR in instead of Ohio.
Dayton, Oregon. Ah, there is a Dayton, Oregon. All right, that's what's going on. I'm like, well, how do I have this bug? Let the map refresh with this new information. All right, here we go. I'm going to go to a full screen here. Oh, maybe it's too full screen. Did that still? Yeah, I have a big wide monitor, and I don't think that worked out really well. And now I can't find my mouse. Let me just zoom in instead. All right. So what we searched for was 2 meter, 70 centimeter repeaters that were FM and DMR. And what the search did is it drew these route boxes around the route, and it drew them at 30 miles around the route, and it added repeaters inside that route, inside the route box. And it gives us that all the way down to Dayton. So what you could theoretically do then is take these results that are down here and select them all and export them to your favorite software. Now, these are pretty much in order from the beginning of your trip to the end of your trip. So in the order that you would encounter them. So if you had these in your radio, you would just change to the next channel as you went along. And you would have all these repeaters in there ready to go. So this is quite a few repeaters. I think it was over 100 that came out. Now I want to point your attention to, there's a repeater over here that is outside the red box. And why would that be? And that is because we know that some repeaters have a greater range than, let's say, within the 30-mile radius here, that would still reach back to the route that would still be usable. So this one, if I click on that, it says it has a 65-mile coverage. So if it can report back to I-65 here, or I-90, whichever it's deciding is close, and it's outside the 30 miles, it'll include it. Same with this repeater here. Has a wider range than the route box was set to. This one also here. We have several like that. So we want to make sure we include repeaters that, even though they're outside the 30 miles, that they would cover back to your route. So this has been by far the most popular recent add-on that we've added to the site. We've had several people report that what used to take them hours and hours of research now happens in about 2 or 3 minutes, or in fact seconds. Here's another repeater down here with good 60-mile coverage out of Cincinnati. So as I said, this list is ready to go and to be exported. And then we have a list of exports here that are ready to go that you can export your radio right out. So if you're using Yaesu, here's all the programming software from Yaesu that we support. Or if you like Chirp, it'll take you right to Chirp. And if you have RT Systems, you can export to RT Systems. Now, a note with RT Systems, they now, if you have a Plus membership, you can log in to RepeaterBook from the RT System software and can conduct the same search from within their software, and it'll put it right into all the memory banks, so you don't have to export and then import. It's all built in now, right from their application. So maybe I should have waited to show you that one last, but that is kind of the crown jewel of what Repeater Book is doing right now. There are some other things that it does. For example, my favorites. This is a list of repeaters here that I have said are my favorite, and it's so it's a curated list of my own of several repeaters, and these are repeaters that I would put into my radios. And I can filter this and say I just want the FM and 2-meter repeaters. Apply the filter, and I get just those. And then I can then also select to export. Export these to the same thing. I can export these out to the radio. I'm actually programming a Anytone D578 right now. It's a tri-band FM DMR repeater with, I don't know, more than 1,000 memories. And to be able to use this to quickly program those initial memory channels into that radio is such a time saver compared to front panel programming or trying to type every single repeater into the programming software, especially as we mistype, because I was going back through the data, I was hand typing and I mistyped and typoed on names of some locations. So if I can, hit the T instead of the R, will I hit the 5 instead of the 4 or vice versa and mess up the channeling? And then, of course, the repeater, it's not going to work if you're not on the right frequency. So I just wanted to pause right there and see if there's any questions.
Hi, Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, question. It's like for DMR repeaters, when you do the export, does it export all the talk groups and so forth into separate channels for that particular repeater?
No, it doesn't do that because every radio is so different. But I would probably, like, if you use RT Systems has what they call a DMR calculator. And I guess I'm not here really to promote their product, but they make it very easy to associate talk groups with the repeater. But we don't do that work on our end. We can give you information about the talk groups that you might want to use, and I'll use because I'm more familiar with my area. I'll use Oregon, and I'll put in DMR. So I'm programming in a bunch of DMR repeaters here. So I can click on this one, and you'll notice, so this is the details on that repeater, all the technical details that you need. And I have a tab here for DMR, and in this tab for this particular repeater and many others, I have the talk groups. So you could go into your radio and you put this in the talk group tab, and then you just have to associate that repeater with the talk groups you want. And I would never program in this many talk groups into my radio because I wouldn't use half of them. So it's not as convenient as just building the code plug from nothing. There is a little bit of work that has to be done, but I think having the information available to be able to do it is half the battle. If that answers your question.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nothing on chat.
Okay. You'll notice on this one, I have this red heart up here, and that means that I made it a favorite. So it's very easy to turn favorites on and off on your repeaters. And that's again, a plus membership deal. What else do we have in plus? It's working on this net search. I didn't try this ahead of time to see if there are any nets in your area tonight. 2 meter, 70 centimeter FM DMR. Let's try. Well, there are a couple nets that we have listed that are occurring tonight in Chicago area. One in Schaumburg on 145230. It's a science and tech net with, I'm guessing, the Schaumburg Amateur Radio Club. And then at noon earlier today, the Lunch Bunch Rag Chew was on 145.43 in Downers Grove, and you can see the details here. So this is, if you're looking for a net that you want to, especially if you're in an area you're not familiar with, this is a good way to do that. You'll find, like, if you like to travel to Hawaii, they have nets there that are very friendly for mainlanders, but you got to know where to go in order to get on one of those nets. And so this net search function will help you find those nets so you can get on and use them. That's kind of a new thing we've been playing with. We can look in advance to see if there's anything on Friday, and there is one net on Friday. Well, it's always that Rag Chew group. Sometimes Saturday and Sunday are popular too. Yeah. Anyway, there's that, and that's kind of where we're at with Repeater Book Plus. But I wanted to show you some other searches. This is back on the free side. If you wanted to do a search to see repeaters that were around your area, you could put Chicago in there within 25 miles. Again, I just keep putting in 2 meter 70 centimeter because that seems to be what most radios are. I'll put in FM and search, and it just came up with 71 repeaters found within 25 miles of Chicago. And again, here's the list, and from wherever Google decides the center of Chicago is, it shows you the distance of the repeater from you and the direction. These dots over here on the side, something that kind of sets us apart. We try to test the repeaters to see if they're operational or not. So green means that we've tested it on air. Red means we've found it off air, and white is untested. We just don't know. We haven't been able to determine. And yellow means it's in testing status, so it's probably a new repeater coming online. As a Plus member, maybe you want to know about new repeaters that have come online. So how would you know about that in your area? So one of the things you can do is subscribe to updates. And every week, Fridays, we send out an email. So anything that's changed or been updated, and in this case, it would be Illinois, you would receive an email about every update and add-on or whatever that's happened in Illinois during the previous week. So that's a good way to keep up on any new repeaters that have new or changed repeaters in your area. Can also do a keyword search if you're looking for something. I put in North Shore just to see what would come up, and probably no surprise, you get Hawaii stuff. But looks like there's a lot of places that somewhere in the listing have the term North Shore in it. Is this your repeater? Does your club have a repeater on 442.09375?
Yes.
Oh, well, there. So, well, that was a bit of it. And it looks like you have a net on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. So, that's what we know about your repeater. And looks like, according to DSAR, it actually heard it today. So this is how we try to verify repeater operational status is checking in on a few digital sources. And so we checked in on your repeater today, it looks like, and found that it was actively being used. So there we go. Trying to put those research tools right there in your hands. So that website's been having some problems, that JFindU, but there we go. The DSTAR user site, you can click right on it and quickly get to the details about that repeater. Looks like you're also listed on aprs.fi. So for that. Now I can quickly look to see if you have any more repeaters by just clicking a similar search for that call sign, and then here we go. So you must have 5 repeaters in the area. Hopefully this information is all accurate. It would be embarrassing if it wasn't, right? So if we looked at that one already.
Motion detected at side camera.
There we go. And anytime anybody wants to pop in with a question, that's more than happy to take on questions. Let's see. If you wanted to search for just certain counties in your area there, you can click the state, and I know where Champaign is. I live down in, let's see, what county was that? Started with an M. Now I have to remember. Oh, well, Jacksonville, wherever that was. What county was that? I thought it started with an M, but I'm wrong. Anyway, Peoria County. Again, 2 meter, 70 centimeter. And then we can find repeaters that are located just in those counties. And that makes sense where they're mapped. So definitely a research tool. I don't know if you have, here's just certain modes if you want to just look at certain modes. So this will show worldwide D-star information. So if you wanted to search, since you're kind of Illinois and Wisconsin, there's 315 repeaters across Illinois and Wisconsin. And we can even see if it'll, because I'm bringing up Google Earth, we'll have to share that window different. Looks like I will. So let me just share that screen. So here's Google Earth with all the repeaters across Illinois and Wisconsin. Of course, we get in the Chicago area, it's going to get a little bit thicker. But just another way to view repeaters with Google Earth and everything it offers. Plus, you can get right down in here, and sometimes you can actually see the tower depending on where they're located. That looks like a hospital. So repeater located there. All right, go back to going to mention also the Repeater Book app, because we have a new thing that we just came out with in February called Repeater Book Connect. And what Repeater Book Connect does is allows you to take your app, your smartphone. So it works really well at first here on Android. And you can control your radio with the app. So if you were using, for example, an ICOM ID5100 and you had the Bluetooth module installed, you could click a repeater listing on the app and your radio VFO would tune the frequency, the offset, and the PL tone. And you can do that for all of these radios here that we have listed. And some of them work with the internal built-in Bluetooth. Others work with the USB cable that came with the radio, or you can add a Bluetooth module to it. We've recently been able to expand this to the iPhone, not been released yet, but the iPhone right now we've tested and proven it works with the ICOM ID52, the Kenwood D710, and actually yesterday we were able to get it working with the ICOM 705. So this is very popular, especially with RV goers, because you can get your all band, all mode, put it in your RV, and instead of fiddling with the radio trying to find a repeater, Repeater Book brings up the closest repeaters automatically, and just tapping the screen programs your radio. At Dayton last year, I had a fellow from Denver who drove all the way to Dayton and only used the Repeater Book Connect app with his ID 5100, and said he had successful QSOs all the way across on the interstate just using Repeater Book Connect and his ID 5100. So he had it I suppose made it more of an enjoyable ride that he didn't have to do any research ahead of time. Just grab the app and hook it up to your radio and go. So that worked really well for traveling. We do have examples of it working because we can make it work with Kenwood and ICOM HTs and mobiles and Yaesu all band, all modes. So there's some good reviews out there on how it works. If you're interested in that, you can get that through the Repeater Book app. How are we doing on time?
Plenty of time left.
Okay, let me put out another call for any questions we have out there. Any questions about what it did, what it can do, or any wishes that you wish it did do something?
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. How do you get that information over to your system from the outside world? How is that coming to you? Automatic, or somebody putting that stuff in manually, or what?
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't let the computer do anything. Everything has to be managed by an admin. So we don't want to, just crowdsource stuff. But I can give you an example here on my dashboard. I'm just scrolling down quickly, I know, but I'm going down here to ILRA tools. So this is the Illinois Repeater Association tools. And so ILRA gave us a brand new set of data on November 1st. And what this does is it runs through and tells me, okay, look, I've got 2 repeaters here that are listed in the Repeater Book that ILRA no longer lists. And so we have to look to see if it was just decoordinated or if they went off the air. And so our admins will reach out to these repeater owners and find out if the repeaters are gone. Then we have add new. So this is a list of repeaters that we're not currently showing on the website that ILRA says are coordinated. Most of these, after doing checking, are actually gone. It's just that the repeater owners have not reported that to the ILRA. And so these we would call paper repeaters, but it gives us a tool to go through and look to see what's going on with these and why are they coordinated with ILRA, but why are we not listing them? And so we'll get new repeaters that'll pop in here, newly coordinated repeaters, and it helps us to get that added. Dupe check is looking to see if we have any duplicate repeaters, 2 listed on the same frequency at the same location. Looks like we're okay there. Discrepancy report looks for information that ILRA has that we don't have, or vice versa. And in this case, this very first repeater, it says that we have a call sign, but ILRA doesn't, which is odd. And so we'll research that. But here's a repeater here that we show that it has All-Star, but ILRA says doesn't have any information on that. Well, All-Star doesn't require, or ILRA doesn't require that you tell them that you have All-Star. It doesn't really affect coordination. But we can go in and look at this repeater then and look to see, is All-Star actually working? And so I click on that and I find, well, it is actually up. It's been up for 2 days. So I believe that that ILR that All-Star is actually working, and that this repeater owner just didn't report that to ILRA. So if that gives an example of the process we go through. Now also what anybody can do, anybody who has a free account on the website can come over here and press this button that says suggest update. And you press on that and it'll give you all the current information that we have on this repeater. And you don't have to be associated with the repeater at all. You just happen to know information about it that's helpful. And like, let's say, oh, this thing doesn't have auto patch anymore. You can just delete that out. And then at the bottom, it'll ask you to validate the change, just to look over it again, that you did everything the way you wanted it. And then when you hit submit, it actually goes into a queue for our admins to review. So this is the Illinois dashboard for our admins. As you can see here, we have a confidence rating, and this is an internal confidence rating, but it goes through and we judge our data and how good we think it is within the state. So how confident are we of the data in Illinois? So it has a B rating. And if I look to see the score to figure out why it's a B and not an A, is it looks like only 3% of the repeaters have not been reviewed in the last 2 years. So over 96% of all the repeaters we've reviewed within the last 2 years. There's only about 8% of repeaters that we don't know if they're on error or not. Looks like there's quite a bit of update activity occurring, which is good. But the low number that we have is what we call repeater record custodians, which would be probably a trustee or a club officer of a repeater. And if we have one of those associated with the repeater, we're actively communicating with that record custodian about any updates that somebody has suggested, or we send them out an email about once a year asking, hey, is everything still correct on your repeater? So if we go back to, let me just take a look again, keyword. So looks like here you do have an RRC associated with your repeater. So if that record custodian, that's who is associated there. So if there were any updates that were made, KK9H would receive an email from us, and they might say, hey, wait, that's an incorrect update. Or maybe they'll get a hold of us and tell us about an update to that repeater. I wanted to point out something over here on the right that might be of interest. You can see we have this propagation prediction, which you can come down and click download KMZ, and that'll bring it into Google Earth. So you can see how this prediction works around buildings, etc. But this blue box here is a signal report. So looks like KC4J JGC back in 2023 was 13.2 miles from the repeater and received an S meter reading of 9. So that's obviously full quieting on a mobile antenna. Reported that at this location. So you can add signal reports, which might help travelers, might help the club, repeater technician, whatever, understand the coverage on the repeater. And it's very simple to do. You probably can't see that pop up, but just a little, you click on that and it'll pop up a little box, and you just select the antenna type, drag the little pin on the map to where you are, and then send it, and then it'll add that little box right there to the repeater. I think we're back in the admin area there looking at that. So the only thing we really need to do to get Illinois to an A is to add more record custodians within Illinois, because we would have more confidence in the data if more repeater owners, trustees, etc., were participating in that. We have 532 active repeaters in Illinois. We know about 80% of them are on the air, 10% are off the air, 1% testing, 8% we don't know. Looks like no problems, so everything's looking pretty good. And then we could see recent activity that's occurred on related to Illinois here. So we can go back and look to see what kind of activity. In the last 30 days, 2 repeaters have been added, 14 updates were done by users, 60 other updates, probably me going in and doing ILRA updates in there. 61 reviews were completed and users added 3 propagation reports. So that's all good information. Hopefully that answers how we go about getting this information specifically for Illinois. You also have the ability as a with a free account to add a repeater. So if I click on Illinois and I click add a repeater, I can come in here and I can add information about a repeater. And then because we're working with ILRA, we'll probably look at the ILRA data. But not everybody in Illinois operating a repeater is coordinated. And so we'll still list it. Maybe you hear a repeater you don't know anything about, you can come on Repeater Book and potentially find it. So we allow anybody to add a repeater, but again, we have admins that check on that. One of the things that we do, since we're a database of repeaters, we have statistics and things like that we can run on what's happening in the world with ham radio. It's interesting when you hear people say, "Oh, ham radio is dead" or something, on some Facebook group or something. Right now, the website's crunching a bunch of numbers to see how alive ham radio is, at least life, 10 meters and above. Takes a minute to crunch. We have 40,000 repeaters listed in the website, so 48,000 repeaters. So of the 48,000 repeaters in Repeater Book, we know that 86.8% of them are on the air. So that's 30,000 repeaters are on the air and operational. And I'm definitely seeing a trend of more repeaters coming on than repeaters going away. In the last year, we've added 982 repeaters. We've updated almost 25,000 and added almost 2,900 propagation reports. We look to see also where the most activity has been in the last 30 days. So Indiana has been pretty busy, California, Texas, Pennsylvania, etc. So this is where hams are updating our data. So a lot of activity there. The updates in the last 7 days, where that's occurring. Wisconsin, we were busy this week, in Michigan. This is one digital repeaters where if you're wondering where the activity is with digital, with DMR coming on and that sort of thing, how many repeaters are what? And so we have 4,500 DMR repeaters, 3,500 System Fusion, and 2,500 D-Star. It's interesting that they're all right about 1,000 apart from each other. And P25 seems to be picking up a little bit. We're up to 816. NXDN is kind of new here, and so is Tetra. And M17, I think, is essentially a failed product, but we do have 52 listed. But this is the number that I keep watching, is digital versus analog. When I started doing these presentations and collecting these stats about 10 years ago, it was about 85 to 15. And so in the last 10 years, we're now to almost 75-25. So the digital seems to be the future because they keep grabbing more and more of the percentage of total repeaters out there. So that red pie just keeps growing. And then another important number is that 20,000 of the repeaters, so almost half of the repeaters that we list, a little bit less than half, are mixed mode, meaning that they can do both a digital and an analog mode. So we're seeing this trend of maybe converting our analog use into a digital use. I don't know how long it'll take for that conversion to happen, but digital is definitely coming along and not going away. This is a trend map. It goes from right to left, right being a year ago to now, and it shows all of the different modes that we track, and then each month how many new repeaters came online with these modes. And so it's interesting to watch the trends here because, for example, ICOM will put out a repeater on a special, or Yaesu will put out a repeater on a special, and you'll see these numbers start climbing. And we can see, M17 jumped up because it got launched, and so you can see these spikes of different repeaters coming online. But DMR is definitely the most popular, and we keep seeing these DMR repeaters. Yeah, these are all DMR spiking here constantly. Yeah, I think this is M17 down here. So, and then System Fusion is number 2 as far as popularity, and then D-Star, and so the ad rate seems to match what we're seeing as far as total number of repeaters. And then this is just a stat for us, but it shows in the last 30 days how much data is being exported out. So if you're curious about RT systems versus chirp and who's using what, right now we're seeing almost 50-50 use from RT systems to chirp. And that's really changed in the last 10 years because we were about 20% RT systems and 80% chirp. But now it's evened out to about 50-50 when you include web-based searches and within the app. If you weren't aware, Chirp allows you, just like RT Systems, that if you're in the app, there's a menu item to import directly from Repeater Book. So, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting. Here in the room in Chicago, on this slide, we don't see that first column, the last 30 days in type. Could you tell us what's on that slide? Because all we see is the second column.
Oh, interesting. I'm narrowing it down, but it's not working. Okay. So in the type, the very first one you see says 137,000. That's our API. So we have an API that allows other programs to reach out and grab information from us. There's WebDX and WebSDR and things like that that are using that. So, and that one is very, very active. But the very second line that says 10,490, that's RT Systems app. So that's how many times somebody has done an export from RT Systems from Repeater Book data that pulled it over. And that number is really jumping since they support the route search from within. Chirp does not support that. But Chirp, it's a 10,084, and Chirp for a long time was well above RT Systems in the number of repeaters that they or number of exports. I'm playing with this thing a little. I'm just moving the screen around to see if that doesn't cut off, but is it?
We're just seeing the last couple of letters from that column. So it's a list of users of this function.
Yeah, these are the specific
Okay,
programs.
Now
That worked. Okay, I just narrowed it down. Okay, that's better if you can see that because, of all the programming software out there, down at the bottom you can see G4HFQ, and that was a guy who he's since passed on, but did Yaesu, and nobody's using that software anymore, even though you can still get it. Unit and Sentinel at the bottom is Unit and scanners, and I'm actually surprised to see anything there, but we have scanner users that are going in and grabbing ham radio data to scan with. And Travel Plus, if you remember Travel Plus, it came with the ARRL on a CD. And I think Kenwood is about the only software that can ingest Travel Plus anymore. So if you're programming a Kenwood D710 or a D700, you can use Travel Plus. but I don't even think I have Travel Plus on my computer anymore. But and then there's some other Kenwoods, but GPX is if you're going to import into a Garmin, Garmin accepts GPX files, so you can import that. Radio Oddity, if you've heard of that, those radios. But if you look at this is Yaesu, and we support almost all of Yaesu's programming software. Not a whole lot of activity there, and even Anytone. And ICOM. But RT Systems and Chirp by far is the most popular way for people that want to program their radios with software. Uh, they're the most used tools compared to these others, which it's an interesting stat, I think, to look at. So um, we do have other stats available in here, like heat maps, where you can look around the country and see which digital modes are popular in which areas. I can't remember what the URL is to that, but being a database, we like to make it a research tool. This information here with digital modes, the ARRL came to us and asked us, can you tell us exactly how many repeaters are in each of the modes, which we did. We provided for them this information. If you're not aware, the ARRL moved to using repeater book data for the ARRL directory this last year, so in 2025. And their repeater directory book was the number 6 best-selling amateur radio book on Amazon for the whole year. Last month, they grabbed another data set from us, and 2026, they will again be offering repeater book data as the data source um, for the ARRL repeater directory. So kind of a little fun fact out there. And usually at the Hamfest, when they bring the books, they'll bring 2 or 3 cases and they'll sell out in the first day. So they don't sell like they used to before the websites, but they're still selling. Am I generating any questions?
One more question about these admins on your site. How many people are doing that? And how much work is that?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Let me jump back here and I can actually, oh, that's the wrong panel. Let's go back to North America admin. And if I go to Illinois again, just so here in Illinois, you can see that we have 4 admins that are working in Illinois, and they're spread out all over the north, central, and south part of the state. And then if you want to see all of our staff, we even have leaderboards down here for our admins to try to keep them motivated. But this is the list of all of our admins, and it's over 100 nationwide and some other countries also. So the list goes pretty far with the total number.
Pardon me, are they all volunteers or?
Right. They're all volunteers. Yeah, not paid. Not paid. So they stay very busy and they're very passionate. Many of the volunteers are actually involved in repeater coordination in their states. That's true for Nevada, New Mexico, Kansas, Oklahoma, Wyoming, Montana. I could go on and on. I can't think of all of them, but a lot of repeater coordinators themselves actually are admins on Repeater Book also. And some of them are just passionate about it and enjoy doing the work. It is busy work. If I'm looking here, I can see that I have 18 requests right now in our queue pending for an admin to go in and do an update. So an example here, I have Hawaii, which we don't currently have an admin there, but so Hawaii has given us a landmark. So I just add this landmark in there, and he's letting us know that it covers the airport and that it's an MMDVM, so it's probably some type of multi-mode. Oh, and he says they have a DMR net every Saturday and everyone is welcome. So I think I already know about this net though. I do know about it, so he's just letting us know again. But we have that, as I was saying before, if you go to Hawaii and search for a net, this one will come up. Um, and so he's just letting us know that. So then I just put in a note here of what he changed, and he'll get an email that says, "Hey, we got it. It's all changed." And
Question from the floor here.
yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. If you go back to your graph of the different repeaters and through the months, and right there, you just passed it. And what is that? The 7th month of 25, where everything took a nosedive? Yeah, right there. 23, 20, yeah, 25. Question, is that lost data or has that been taken up over on the 8th month?
So the reason for this is probably going to be because we didn't do any research in this month, but so I think it would be taken up in the subsequent months. Because if just because the repeater wasn't added in July when it probably actually appeared, it's when it got added to our database. And digital modes are very easy to track because D-Star, DMR, System Fusion, as long as it has wires, they all report into servers that we actually have hooks into. And so we know, like, if we're watching radioid.net, when these repeaters are coming online and we're adding them. So I'm thinking this month here, it was probably just a busy month and there wasn't much research occurring on our end.
Right, and that research would have showed up in the 8th month.
Right, exactly. That's probably why we have a bigger jump here.
That would
So,
be an accumulation of what there was between July.
exactly. Yeah, if we were doing research here, maybe it's 4 and 2 instead of, 0 and 6. So,
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Thank you.
yeah. Yeah.
And I think we are getting a little short on time tonight.
Sure. Yeah.
Are there any other questions here from Heller? No, we do have one more.
One more question. Who wrote the software for your operation here? It looks like a lot of work went into that.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, I did. I guess that's a short story. So I've always been interested in computers, and my first computer was a Commodore 64, and I had a cassette drive at first, and then moved on to the five and a quarter floppy. But I used to program in my paper route, so I knew who all my customers were, and I had the Oki data 120 tractor fed computer printer, and I would print out my paper route, but I could load that in and do that. So they used to have these programming manuals that you would open it up, and I learned Basic Plus back in the day. So when this came about, I'd been toying around with some Microsoft, products that use relational databases. But this is written in PHP, and MySQL is the backend database. And now I'm a police officer by trade. I've been a police officer for 25 years, and I don't do any coding as part of my normal job. So this has always been a hobby that I did. But starting back in 2006, I went to a Barnes and Noble bookstore and bought the book PHP for Dummies, and just started learning how to do it using this repeater database as the basis for learning. So I was programming and figuring out how to do this for a database. So it's evolved, but next year will be 20 years. And this site is rapidly changing right now. The programming, I'm probably putting in 40 hours a week because I'm trying to modernize the look of the website to go from a 1990s utility type program to a more modern card style layout, and more informative, but also what we call mobile first. So if you use your cell phone, it looks just as good as if you use it on the desktop. You can probably see I shrunk this down, and now I get menus, that pop up in different places. But if I go a little bit larger, like a desktop, so this is now it's a lot of asking AI questions about how to do more than what I knew how to do. But I've never been to school or to a programming class, so yeah, it's only me. Nobody else is helping, not because of lack of invitations. It's just I just do it all. So
I have another question for you. It's a real simple
yeah.
one. We got the salesman here. How much is the Plus subscription?
Oh yeah, it is $16.99 per year. It's $2.99 a month, but obviously $16.99 a year is a much better deal. Yeah. Let me see. You can go into. So we have in fact, I'll take this and I'll put this in the chat, but it's easy to remember the website. It's repeaterbook.com/RB plus for Repeater Book Plus, but there are links on the Repeater Book website menu. And we do have kind of a landing page to explain what it is that we do. And upcoming features like if you need to build your own CSV, that's coming. I just launched saving searches. So if you we have guys that like to constantly search the same 6 counties. We can now save that search and you can recall it, so you don't have to keep going in and choosing your 6 counties. You just hit the save search button and it runs the search again. And then we're looking at launching an AI that we want to call it Elmer, so that if you had a specific radio and needed help programming it, Elmer will actually ingest the user manuals and guides on how to program a radio. And then if you say, hey, I need to program this repeater into my radio, it would give you step-by-step instructions, just like the user manual, but with the context of that specific repeater. So that's something we're hoping to launch as part of Plus in 2026 as part of our 20-year anniversary model. So, yeah.
Garrett,
Yeah.
well, thank you very much for that presentation. And that's quite a bargain that you're offering, by the way, for the Plus. The gentleman that asked the question has got a big grin on his face.
Good. Good.
So, and I want to thank you again for spending the time with us and for creating this interesting program.
Yeah, it's been a labor of love. Really appreciate it. So.
Okay. That's right. You have Garrett as a repeater. Okay. How do we get this back to where we're going to be here? Yeah, I know. Thank you. So, no, I have to share because I have to go out on Zoom, but I have to get back to the slides. Here we go. Just going to do it. There we go. There we go. I'm close enough, I think. Chuck, you seeing this on Zoom? No. No. Oh, got to go back to share, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Alt. Share. There we go. Share. All right, now. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Try that one. That wasn't the right one. There we go. All right. There we go. All right, now I got to get rid of that stupid bar. Hide floating meeting controls. Not bad. All right, now we got to move this out of the way. Shove that on. As good as it's going. I give up. That's as far good as I can get as far as moving that around. All righty. Okay, we're moving right along to the next subject. What? Did I do it right? What? Yeah. What? Oh, it looks correct. Oh, I thought you were telling me I was doing something wrong again. Okay. At the club meeting in December, we'll vote on the club officers for 2026. The bylaws state that there are 4 elected positions presented to the membership as a slate vetted by the nominating committee. This year's nominating committee consisted of Vice President Elliot Goldman, K9EHG, I don't have to read that to you. Secretary Dick Hagedorn, Membership Chairman Tammy Whitbrot, Publicity and Communications Director Udo Koch, and I. And we have slated the following officers. There will be an opportunity at the December meeting for discussion about the vote and about additional possible members, and that people perhaps want to offer another candidate for one of these positions. But the slate consists of, what? No, I'm sorry. Yes, this slate will be published. Well, that's in December. We do that in December. Okay, the nominees or the suggestions from the slate are for me to be continuous president, Alan Bruner to be our vice president. Alan is an executive with one of the largest executive recruiting firms in the world. Dick Hagedorn will continue as secretary, and Jim Janik, who is a member of the club, who is a certified public accountant and works in the financial industry and has several positions. He will be taking over as slated as treasurer. George? Nominations from the floor, it just talks about the nominating committee. So, and the other thing is that each of the 4 slots you've got, I also noticed it's not an all thumbs up or down. Each one of them is supposed to be voted separately. Okay. So there's no, the other thing is there's no one of the items. We should get you a microphone. Wait a minute, you know what, get him the microphone. In fact, why don't you start over with that whole thing, George?
There we are. Good evening. George Sachs, N9LWU. I reviewed the bylaws today, and I noticed with respect to the election, there's no provision in the bylaws for any other nominations being made from the floor. Brian was absolutely correct about the nominating committee, and would you sit down and wait your turn?
Sit down, sir. You're out of order. You are out of order.
You sit down and wait your turn. Thank you. So I went through, and it doesn't talk about any other nominations for. It does specify with fairly good detail about the process, the nominating committee, and the positions. And then secondly, I also noticed that there's no reference for any protocol, and it's sometime the board should consider adapting something like Robert's Rules of Order so you have consistency in the protocol you follow within the board. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I feel it would be appropriate to.
You're wrong. Okay, as an attorney, let me
That's your
tell you
opinion.
this,
That's your opinion, but he's an attorney and you are whatever you are.
because I know what I'm.
Wait, hold on. Richard, please sit down. We will, what did I just say? What did I just say? That we would talk, what did I just say? I agreed, George, it doesn't show it in the bylaws, but I agreed that we are going to discuss at the December meeting. You want to present a candidate? Absolutely. Absolutely. And talk about the candidate.
It's hard to consider them. There should be at least a campaigning option.
Well, there isn't at the moment. So, sorry. Well, you could think whatever you want. Anyway, that's the situation where we are right now. And that's all I have for this evening. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting? It's motion second. We're adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.